Hello everyone on YouTube, this is Final Lugia Guardian, also known as Lex Historia on vid.me, and today I'm going to briefly discuss my thoughts on the Canon 6D Mark II. And I previously made a predictions video for the Canon 6D Mark II claiming that I believed it was going to have 4K at 30 frames per second max, I believe is what I claimed, no 60 FPS 4K, and dual card slots. Neither of which it has. It has one SD card slot and no 4K at all. Its max video resolution is 1080p. So I can sum up my feelings about the Canon 6D Mark II in one word. Disappointment, disappointment, disappointment. Okay, actually that's three words, but it's one word three times for emphasis. We'll go with that. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure you all know, at least as well as I do, why Canon did this. They did this to protect the Canon 6D Mark II's big brother, the Canon 5D Mark IV, and the 1DX Mark II, and further up the video line, the Canon C series, like the Canon C200, C300, and the C700. So if you want 4K, you're going to have to go to those cameras. I am really disappointed. Canon, I think, really dropped the ball. What I think Canon actually had an opportunity to do is deliver the final blow to Nikon and knock them out of the DSLR world once and for all, by releasing a Canon 6D Mark II that had 4K, even if it only was at 30 frames per second, even if it only was in motion JPEG. But no, they didn't. But even worse for me, even worse than the loss of 4K, because, you know, I can deal with that 4K. All my stuff right now is in 1080p. Maybe one day I will upgrade to 4K, like maybe one day I will finally get a GH5 and have 4K at 60 FPS, but I can deal with 1080p for now. But once again, worse for me than the loss of 4K video is no dual card slots, because Magic Lantern can come in and hack the 6D Mark II and give us 4K that way. They cannot hack the fact that it doesn't have dual SD card slots or any dual card slots. It'll always just have one and only one UHS-1, not even UHS-2, UHS-1 card slot. One UHS-1 card slot's all you're going to get on the 6D, and that's all you will ever get. So I like the idea of, on every full-frame DSLR, there being two card slots so that you can shoot your images to both cards and always have a backup. Now, I am not a pro. I guess you could call me an enthusiast, and I hear some of you saying, but the camera you have in front of us right now is a Canon SL1. That only has one SD card slot. And you are right, it does. But this camera was $369 when I bought it. The Canon 6D Mark II is $2,000. $2,000 for 4K, sorry, for no 4K and no dual card slots? No thanks. Even the Nikon D750 has dual card slots at $1,700. Full frame DSLR, dual card slots, 1080p 60 frames per second, same video resolution and frame rate as the Canon 6D Mark II has, and it shoots at 6.5 frames per second, which is, guess what, the exact same frames per second that the Canon 6D Mark II shoots at, 6.5 frames per second. So, in the description of my previous video on the 6D Mark II predictions, I also put in the description that if they did a 24 megapixel sensor or higher on the Canon 6D Mark II, this is of course presuming they also had dual card slots and 4K, was going to kill off the Nikon D750 and make everyone who was going to buy that switch to Canon. But now I think Nikon is actually going to be a bit of a beneficiary of Canon's ignorance. And Canon, in their vain attempt to protect their cinema line and their higher-end line, I think are simply just going to lose out on the customers that would have bought the 6D Mark II, but were never going to buy the Canon 5D Mark IV or Canon 1DX Mark II. So, for me personally, what I have made the decision to do is I'm not going to upgrade to the Canon 6D Mark II, at least not at the price of $2,000. I really think that that camera's worth, I don't know, around $1,500 at the max, at least for me. And then what I think I'm going to do is start down the road of switching to Nikon. So for now, I will hold on to my Canon SL1. I'm going to continue using it. It's been very reliable for me, and I think it'll be very reliable for you. And it's a good value for the price that it costs. And I will talk a bit more about the 6D Mark II and its specs in a later video as well. And of course, I will post the image review of the Canon SL1 as soon as I can as well. I apologize that that's not up yet. I got a little bit busy with some other stuff in life, but I promise I'll have that up as soon as I can. So thank you for bearing with me. So once again, back on what I plan to do. What I plan to do is ultimately I'm going to switch to Nikon at this point for my first full frame DSLR. Probably a Nikon D750 because that has 1080p at 60 frames per second, same as the 60 Mark II. It has a little tilty flippy screen, not the fully articulating screen as on the 60 Mark II. And it has dual card slots, which the 60 Mark II does not have. So you can back up your images and make sure that one SD card slot just going kaput in the middle of a shoot doesn't mean you lose all your images. And that about wraps up my thoughts. So once again, thank you all for watching and have a wonderful day. Until next time, take care. Peace.